cell phone account.
Oh, God. Oh, God. No, I would have been in trouble with that. Every time.
Thank you.
It's not what I'm showing. It's something completely
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, I guess we can get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the planning board, August 6th. Would you join in the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Arena?
Here.
Mr. Kashani?
Here.
Mr. Malta?
Here.
Mr. Mixel?
Here.
Mr. Rampy?
Here.
Mr. Hauser?
Here.
Mr. Sackers?
Here. Okay, so we have no public hearings actually, so there's 3 items on our agenda, 1 tabled matter, so Dave, why don't we go ahead and start?
Marissa's attic sign located at 1045 Gravel Road, applicant Justin Zinet is requesting sign approval for a 21.75 square foot facade sign under the Code of Town of Webster.
Okay. Are you, nobody here? Excuse me, they weren't here the last time either. Isn't that the case then? I think
You're correct.
Last meeting too. Okay, must be
Is
another-
that already on the property?
I haven't had a chance to go down there, take a look.
They were notified, correct, John?
Yes, they were.
To be here?
It was, I had a phone conversation with them.
Recall, Tony.
Well, I guess we just make a motion to table it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table it, Melissa.
To the what, the 20th? I don't know what the date is.
Yeah.
The
20th.
20th.
The 20th of August.
Okay, need a second.
Mr. Arena?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mr. Rampy?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Kashani?
Right. Okay, that was easy, so on to the next one.
Violent Vanity Tattoo sign located at 1064 Gravel Road, applicant Joshua Flesh is requesting sign approval for a 14 square foot facade sign under section under Code of the Town of Webster.
Well, we're gonna be out of here quick. Okay.
I'll make a motion
Go ahead.
to
Table.
table the Violent Vanity Tattoo sign to our next meeting on August 20th.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Arena?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mr. Rampy?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Kashani?
Right.
Actually, for that one, you gotta try by the site, because I think it's on the building already.
Are you serious?
It is.
Yes.
It is on there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, then,
The tattoo place.
you know what, then tomorrow, we should have code enforcement go over there and have them take it down. Start all over, no, seriously, it's the only way you're gonna get the message across. I'll go up there tomorrow, I'll ask them, Don, you or I, or whatever, we'll just go and have them, the sign needs to be removed.
Just careful, they're called violent.
What's that?
They're called violent.
Yeah, violent, all right. Violent tattoo, that's okay. I can handle it. Okay, on to the third one.
Wegmans Car Corral in Flagpole located at 9 Ball Road, applicant Wegmans Food Markets requesting final site plan approval to construct a cart corral and flagpole along the northwest side of the food market building located in HC High Intensity Commercial District under the Code of Town of Webster.
Lemke, Unpaid Cascade, work in the site development group of Wegmans.
Take that mic down.
Is it on? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Good.
just talk loud, that's all.
Okay, sorry,
There we go.
I can talk. The store has requested that we get some extra cart storage for them. They have many carts that do end up getting used during high peak hours, and currently they store those carts underneath the awning right where the drive-through is for the Instacart and for Helping Hands. And so those carts are getting in the way of customers walking through there, which forces them to walk into the roadway. What the store is asking for is to move the existing landscaping that's currently on the wall of the store,
In the
move
front.
it up. Can you see that?
Yeah, no, it's in, no, it's in. but-
Yeah, so it's in
landscaping
the, it's
front
right
of
along the front, so, it's just along the front of the store line. So they just wanna shift that back about 10-ish feet, 10.5 feet, so that they can get a concrete pad back there to store the carts, in a readily accessible area. I know they've tried storing them in the back of the store, but that's just a walk around to get some extra carts when they need them. So this would, the landscaping would provide the screening needed to hide the carts that are back there from the parking lot and any store. And then there's 3 trees here, and then where a 4th tree would go, we're proposing a 40-foot flagpole, just to be patriotic, as we have many of those.
The front of the building.
Yep.
Then you have the landscaping in front of that.
Yeah,
You're gonna
so
move the landscaping out, then put
we
the
would
carts
push
in
the
back.
landscaping out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're at the front of the building here, so here's the Wegmans, here's our windscreen, and the carts are stored here right now.
Yes.
And so the landscaping is here, and then we just shift it towards the parking lot about 10 feet, and then add a concrete pad for the carts, and then a flagpole on the corner.
I don't see an issue with
No,
it.
the concrete pad is gonna go closest to the,
Yeah, right,
and then the screening,
outside.
you know, that is great. It's not
Yeah.
gonna-
Anybody, any issues?
Looks good.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. No concerns, they're just for a final site plan approval form. Want to make a motion to it, someone? It's not a public hearing, so we just move
Is
on.
it ready to find the site plan?
Yeah, just
Gonna make a motion.
approve it based on the.
Wegmans cart corral, flagpole. PRC cabinets. So-called approval of government fees, if any. Private public works approvals. Significant construction to occur within 1 year is deemed by the planning board to expire on August the 6th, 2020.
Yeah, just give you drawing number and you got it. That's all it is with this.
Can't read that drawing number.
Yeah, I can't really see it. Do you have a drawing number for that?
Yeah,
there?
yeah, up there.
It's the whole, I have a 4-page packet, it's the whole road cart storage.
Drawing number C1.
Well,
You got
see, this
Yeah.
is, yeah,
Drawing number C1.
sorry, C2, well, this is C2.
C2. Drawing C2.
You got it? Well, you guys are killing me. Need a second for it.
I'll second that.
All right, you have a second. Now, question. On the PRC, Dan, you've got in there not to exceed 50 foot for the flagpole.
Yeah, just for the record.
Is there a flagpole going up too, or?
It's
Yes.
40 foot.
Yeah.
It's 40? Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, then we're good.
There
Okay.
again, just for the record, not to exceed 50.
Mr. Malta?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mr. Rampy?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Arena?
Aye.
Mr. Pishani?
All right. You're all set.
Thank you.
Okay. That's all.
Webster Woods Car Wash located 801 Ridge Road, applicant Webster Woods Plaza LLC is requesting a sketch plan review to construct a car wash facility having 2 self-wash bays, a laser wash bay, a drive-through tunnel, and 5 vacuum stations on a proposed lot of 1.239 acre parcel located in MC District, medium commercial, under the Code of Town of Webster.
You read that in a record? You already,
What's that?
you introduced this? Good.
Oh, yeah, you did. I was looking at the drawing. What's up, what's that?
Evening. I'm Mike Bojeski with BME Associates. With me from Mark IV Enterprises is Brian Powers and Don Riley, representing the owners of the plaza. If you guys remember, we were originally here back in March with our original concept plan for the proposed car wash within the lot 4 of the Webster Woods Plaza. I did bring a copy of it here for reference. And just a little recap. Since we initially came back in March to review the concept plan, we've since gone back, took the comments we received at that planning board meeting, and then also met with the town's PRC committee twice, just to work through layout revisions and discuss some of the issues that were brought up at that last meeting. Some of the bigger items that we did discuss were mainly traffic flow and how the cars entering and exiting the car wash would interact with the traffic flow around the plaza. The original concept plan, which is behind me, included the 1 wash tunnel, 1 touchless laser wash tunnel, and 3 self-wash bays. So, and if you look at that original one, the cars entering the car wash were entering near the plaza entrance on the northeast corner of the lot. And then they would exit along the southeast corner there, and then any cars bypassing the tunnel would exit on the south. There was 6 vacuum station spaces for cars to pull up and use the vacuums, which were on the east side, which we've revised since then. We went to PRC twice. We discussed some of the issues of layout and traffic flow around the car wash and around the plaza. So we've revised the concept plan, and Don asked us to come back for sketch plan review to reintroduce basically this new layout as we move forward through approvals for the car wash. Just as a reminder, lot 4, it's 1.2 acres approximately, zoned MC, the medium intensity commercial district. We originally started the process because an application was made to the zoning board for a use variance since the car wash use is not allowed within the MC district, and they since asked the board to forward it to the planning board for review of preliminary approval.
Now, is this basically the same number of units as the first drawing you had, correct?
I'll get to that. We have removed one of the self-wash bays. We've decreased the amount of bays on the building.
There's still 3 of them there, right?
We originally had basically four bays, now we're down to 3. We've kept the one touchless laser wash and then removed one of the self-wash bays.
You know, we were at that PRC meeting, that was the one thing I mentioned, is, and this is my opinion,
Sure.
it's just too big for that site. You know, I look at Delta Sonic over there, or what's the other one up there? Royal Car Wash. They're just a one-shot deal through, and they're large. And this is in a extremely busy area. And you've got the same type of an operation there, plus the other one, plus the laser washes. That's an excessive use for it. I just have an issue with it.
Now, also too, wouldn't they have to go for like 7 or 8 variances?
Oh, they gotta get variance for use, gotta get use variance.
Use variance plus also, lot,
No,
They
there are a
fit
number
that.
of variances, excuse me, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Dan.
There are a number of variances which were granted when the subdivision was
Yeah.
approved by this board, just because it went through
Yeah, when we went
parking
through
lot
the
areas, whatnot. Based on this site plan, there's only one variance that I can see would be necessary is for the rear setback. We're showing 74 feet, 75 feet is required.
so all the other like lot coverage done and,
There you go.
minimum lot width that was granted before?
Well, I'm gonna agree with Tony that I think the use is excessive, and I think it's a poor site to do a car wash in. I think it's detrimental to the plaza.
Mr. Chairman, if I could answer some
Yeah,
of
sure,
the
go ahead.
question about the building and what we're trying to do here. Yes, Royal is just a tunnel. Every one of their car washes is just a tunnel. They don't get into self-wash, they don't get into touchless wash. And really what laser wash is it's a touchless wash. And there are people out there, believe it or not, that don't want the brushes and the other parts of the mechanical car wash coming in contact with their car. They don't like the people, they're at the beginning of the wash, they're wiping the brushes against the car to get the bugs off or whatever off the car. They want a true touchless wash. They may have a collector car, they may have a car that's special to them. And we think there's a market for that because there isn't a laser wash in the competing marketplace. The self-wash bays are for those that have a vehicle that cannot get through either a laser wash or the tunnel. If you have a truck that's a lifted type truck, not a standard commercial truck, pickup truck, but something that's lifted, you're not going to get in the tunnel. You're not going to get in the laser wash. If you have a camper, a pop-up camper or a small type camper, you're not going to get that in the laser wash or the tunnel, and that's why the self-wash is a necessary item. The person who may be operating this operates other car washes that have these features in them, and there is a marketplace for those features. As Mike said, actually when we started this thing, I think we had 2 laser washes and 3 self-washes. And over the iterations of this plan, both at the first planning board meeting that Mike discussed and the following 2 PRC meetings, that we discussed 3 different layouts for this thing. And we've trimmed back from the 2 laser washes and the 3 self-washes, now down to 1 laser wash, 2 self-washes, and a tunnel. And we do meet all the setback and building coverage requirements for the lot, except for one of these rear setbacks that apparently were off by 1 foot. I think we could probably make a small adjustment to the plan to address that. Really what came out of the PRC meeting was that everybody that was around the table said, this is the plan they prefer because this gives not so much the ingress part of it, but gives the egress part of it 3 different options for leaving this site. And everybody liked that. Rather than trying to send cars right out to Ridge Road, it allows cars to move to 5 Mile Line through 2 different ways through the site. And everybody was in agreement with what we have here tonight.
I think we were in agreement with the new design at that meeting. We talked and beat it around and came up with the changes that you folks made. And they are a better, it is a better traffic flow, there's no question, than what it was. You know, coming in further, you're not making turns into it, so close to Ridge Road and so on and so forth. So those are improvements. And that part's fine with what it is, but again, you gotta get the variances, we'll go with that, but
One of our
what
big
is
variances.
the tunnel? Is that, what's that system?
Tunnel is.
Is that just a regular where the car is carried through?
It's on a little conveyor and it
It's the
carries
same
cars.
as the other ones, then, really?
Yep, you get some nice cool flashing lights
Yeah,
and
makes it
colored
look
foam
pretty
and all that good stuff.
Going through the tunnel, will there be people at the end of it wiping off cars?
No, no. Nowadays, the jet dryers and these things
Yeah.
are so decent that, there is still a little bit of moisture in the car, but it's not anything you're really gonna get with a towel either. It's in the cracks and crevices of the car.
Okay, so help me with this, you got the tunnel, then you have proposed car wash, what is that section? Is that something separate there, or is that just part of the overall tunnel? Is that like where the mechanicals are, or what?
Yep, that's where the mechanicals are.
Okay.
Some of the storage for some of the
Okay.
soaps and fluids that are used in the wash have to be stored somewhere, so there's a space adjacent to the actual tunnel.
See, because what I'm looking at, I'm seeing you got a driveway going into it, which makes me look at like, okay, what is this? Or is that, what am I looking, is that, this is concrete curb, I guess?
Yeah, if you see the two,
Yeah,
if you see the two
hash
concrete,
lines?
if you see the two concrete pads, that's basically the entrance exit to the tunnel.
I'm
The
sure that,
hash lines are just painted lines so
Yeah,
the
got it.
cars don't end up in that.
I'm sure when you did your development studies, when you went through there, what would be feasible on a property for return on investment? So, you have to have all these items for your return on investment to make this work? Or can you scale it down? I mean, you know,
We feel we do. We feel, number one, there's a marketplace for this based on the amount of residential that's to the south of us down 5 Mile Line. We've got a number of car washes on Ridge Road in our location. A bunch of them don't do their own self-washing. Some of them have their own wash bays, but there's a good number that don't. Vision, right next door to us, does not self-wash their cars.
Now, you were saying something earlier, who runs this? Is this, who owns it? Does Mark Former own it, or?
We currently own it. We are,
Currently, but wait a minute, who's gonna own it? Let me put it that way then.
we don't have a signed contract with somebody, but we're talking to somebody right now.
Okay, so somebody would be buying it and taking over the
They,
operation?
well, they likely would have a ground lease from Mark IV,
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
and so they would own the building and
Yeah.
operate the building.
Land lease.
now is there an office there where people go into for, if they got a problem with something? Do
Generally, the office is in that area adjacent to the tunnel.
they?
Yeah.
Okay, the proposed car wash area,
Yeah.
okay.
The payment mechanism that's outside of the tunnel
Yes.
has a help button on it, so if somebody gets in trouble with, they can't get their car read or something, there's a help button, and one of the attendants that's in the building will promptly be out there to assist that person.
So whoever buys this then obviously has the control of it. And then that brings up an issue, who's the person, how reputable are they, how well is this going to be made? Mark IV has always maintained their properties very well,
Thank you.
and, you know, they always have with all of them. But then with somebody coming in on this, you may have the property, but you don't have the building, and therefore, how do you enforce that if somebody just kind of get negligent with stuff?
We have several other properties right now where we have ground leases, and we demand from those people the same level of attention to the property that we would give them.
Is there, you're saying the operator of this, the potential operator of this, do they have other ones similar to this?
Yes, they do.
Where is there one at? I'd really like to see it.
They have this without the tunnel in a couple of locations.
Ah, we're getting better already. Okay.
So the tunnel is what they want to get into because this, as you already said, this is a busy location and there's a demand for this type of mechanism. I can give you 3 or 4 different laser wash and self-wash examples.
That goes back to my question from before. Return on investment, do you need all of that? Can you eliminate something? You know,
The person we're talking to with the ground lease as it's presented to them needs all these items that sustain what they're going to pay for this ground lease.
And where is there one currently, right, or similar to?
There's one in Parrington, there's one in Victor, there's one, I don't think there's one in Penfield, but I know there's one in Parrington and one in Victor.
Parrington, whereabouts?
31F,
What's the name of it, do you know the name of that?
it used to be the Parrington Car Wash, I can't remember what it's called, they changed the name, Rapid Car Wash, possibly?
Rapid? Okay. All right, I don't know.
My concern, probably with everyone else's concern, is the traffic on Ridge Road.
Yeah.
Adding another car to that road for any reason is a bad idea.
And generally, the traffic for these is already on the road. Somebody's not making a special trip to the car wash. They're on their way to work, they're on their way home. They're already in the traffic stream and they decide to get their car washed. I have seen numbers for, and we'll present this in an engineering report when we get to the next level with this thing, but generally 80 to 90% of the car wash customers are already in the traffic stream. It's not a new trip generated.
See, again, like I mentioned to you guys before, you know, I was in there one night in the restaurant there, and we came out, it was probably about 6:30. And the overflow cars, I took pictures, I think I mentioned it to you before, Brian. There were cars parked on that gravel section there, because the parking lot was maxed right out, which is good, I mean, somebody's making some good business there, but with that kind of traffic, and then a car wash in there on, you know, I don't know. It's just excessive, and then getting out onto Ridge Road, those are my concerns anyways. You get a variance and then we'll work with it, but I think that's.
Just to talk about our process here. We have an application in front of the zoning board currently because we need a use variance.
Right.
This is the second time that a car wash is being proposed in this medium density, or medium, yeah. And so we have an application with them. We have to progress to either a recommendation from this board or preliminary site plan approval in order to go back to the zoning board and complete this application and this process. That's been the
There's
request.
two ways. One, you can come back for preliminary, but then you're doing a lot of work that we don't know where it's even gonna go. I prefer, at this point, my opinion, would be that you went to the zoning board and got the variance, and then came back. Now we know what we're working with.
We would love to do that.
What do you think, Dan? As opposed to going through all the paperwork and drawings and.
Yeah, if that's board's wishes, fine.
The last time we discussed this, we suggested doing some kind of preliminary traffic study at that point,
Yeah.
and conversations with DOT.
Pardon me?
I was reviewing the minutes from the last meeting that we had, talking about this, and in there we requested that you should do, start looking at doing a traffic study not only for on and off Ridge Road, but also movement within the plaza itself, and then have conversations with DOT. Has that taken place yet?
We have some numbers put together. I'm not sure why we have to talk to DOT.
Because you're having a driveway going on, and
We already have an existing driveway.
with a significantly heavier traffic load that comes out right in the middle of their turning pocket for a 5 mile line.
In my experience with DOT is once you have an existing driveway, if you, this is
So I
already,
guess the answer is, even though we asked you to have a conversation with them, you decided not to.
well, the answer is correct. We have not looked at we don't have a traffic study in hand right now, because we were sent down this journey of going to the PRC to figure out what we're gonna do with the layout, and a lot of layout changes had to do with the internal traffic circulation in the plaza. Rather than chasing every car back out to Ridge Road, the traffic signal at Ridge and 5 Mile Line is a wonderful intersection. And we do have a driveway out on 5 Mile Line. And can we encourage people to move towards 5 Mile Line versus Ridge Road? And that's what this layout has done, and that's what all the conversation with PRC was about.
that encouragement there, has there been any conversation with the businesses already in that plaza of people crossing over that thoroughfare to get to 5 Mile?
Well, they have a couple different ways they can get to 5 Mile Line. There's a significant driveway at the rear of the plaza with parking that both employees and customers park in. Or they can come across the front of the plaza, either out by Ridge Road or up against the building. If you've been to our plaza recently, we just restrict the parking lot. That was a request that came out of PRC. And we've added additional stop control at different points in the parking lot to calm traffic and control traffic, even prior to this being built.
Most of the traffic coming in for the car wash, gonna come in and exit out Ridge Road. And you cannot make a left-hand turn into this property or make a left-hand turn out of it, most of the time.
And I think that's common
I frequent
knowledge.
that plaza 3-4 times a week. And it's a nightmare making a left-hand turn in or making a left-hand turn out. So I think there is a traffic problem that's gonna be prevalent there.
Yeah, Don Riley, Mark IV. I was not intending to speak, but I want to put a few things on record and I think set this in perspective. We're in front of you because the zoning board asked us to come to the planning board for your concept approval before we go back to them. And so we're working through that process. But secondly, you either made a mistake as a planning board when you granted Royal Car Wash the right to build their car wash. This is a much larger, better site for a car wash than that is. That was plopped in the middle of an existing quasi-plaza with a daycare behind it. And quite frankly, the only advantage it has is a light, not in front of it, but up the street, some consideration, where people drive down the drive aisle to McDonald's and to a number of other businesses. It has access to Jackson Road. We have access to 5 Mile Line Road. So you either made a mistake with the Royal Car Wash, or you're putting us to standards that exceed what you asked them to review. We asked for their traffic study, so that we could compare apples and oranges, and they just gathered data from DOT. Really is no formal traffic study that we've asked for. So we're taking this very seriously. This site has been on the market for development. We would have preferred this be developed when the plaza was finished, and it has not. So we're in front of you because we were sent there. We do not want to get into a ping pong match between the zoning board and here, but we do want fair consideration, the same consideration of this board. Some of you may have been on the board when Wegmans Properties brought this project in. And in some cases, I think we're set to a double standard. There seems to be some sort of fear about a laser wash. I go to a laser wash at University in Culver, next to the mobile station, that has virtually no parking and no traffic movement, and there's never a problem. If you see 2 or 3 cars that are waiting for the laser wash behind you, just move on. You don't plug up. And so I'm telling you right now that we want equal treatment. I don't believe that some of the questions and even some of the review has been equal. And we'll take a look at the traffic study if Wegmans Properties or Royal Car Wash did it. But to some extent, it doesn't matter who operates this car wash. We're going to require them to exceed or meet the standards that we have for the maintenance of all of our properties. We have properties all over Monroe County, and I would be fair to say that they're as nicely landscaped and maintained as any. But we really do need to finish our work and our process with you. Fair consideration of traffic concerns, but we have the same access, if not better. Naturally, you wouldn't turn left-hand during drive time, but the new improvements to the intersection that the state has done with 104 and 5 Mile Line have significantly eased traffic.
Stop right there. I was there the other day.
Well,
And
Tony,
hold on, let me finish. And the traffic for that turning lane, They were up beyond the
Yeah.
striped area, trying to make a, excuse me, trying to make a left turn. So it was blocked, I mean, it was gridlocked right there.
I'm not suggesting
So it
it's
was
good, but
Number one, number two, and you know, I take a little offense to that, we did due diligence on that. We didn't make a mistake. I think we did a good job with that project.
this is a better site. You admitted it.
But that's what you think, you said that's.
No,
what
you admitted it recently in one of our review
There
meetings.
is-
It's a better site.
All right, go ahead, I'll finish with you. Go
You
ahead.
don't think that's a better site than the Royal Car Wash plopped in the middle of a plaza with a daycare behind it, with a flood control,
There's
big chunk out
There's
of
no
it?
no
comparison.
impact at all.
There's no
David,
comparison
There is
to
no
this.
impact.
No comparison to this site, to that site down there. Number one, the traffic down there is not as intense as it is in that corridor right there. That's number one. Number two, this is a much larger plaza that generates a lot more traffic and
We
needs
would
a lot
hope.
more parking.
We would hope so, it's not
Can't
empty.
compare it to, as far as I'm concerned.
And the scope of how many units that are gonna be in this car wash versus what Royal had, which is a one pass, when you have all these units here. That's why I asked the question, do you need them all?
We can back up a little bit further with this, because if you remember, you probably remember when Royal, when they came in and they wanted to use the Christian flooring on the corner, and they wanted to go in there, and it was like, get out of town, this isn't gonna happen.
Yeah, it's a much smaller site.
No,
Much
smaller,
smaller
but it
site
was a
than this.
smaller operation too. So,
But you granted them, you know.
no, we told them there, sticking in the same neighborhood now, with that section there, we said, no, it's too
The
tight.
town granted them
Busy.
the right to put a car wash in where it's
Where
only
they are,
technically
because,
doesn't allow.
because that was an area, we felt anyways, that it did fit and it would work in there, that's all.
Much
And
lower.
it does. And as far as the children
And so
in the
does-
back, there's no issues with them. The bank next door, their concern was going to be, I believe, the noise from the roar of the things. That's even feathered away now, so there's been, I have not heard, have you heard complaints at all?
I'm not, by the way, I agree.
Neither.
I'm not critical of that. I think this is a better site for traffic
Well,
movement
yeah,
and
of course, and you're
everything.
going to, but, and it is a good site, but I'd rather see something in there that was more usable other than a car wash, something that was used during the day, you know, like, and I know I'm hearing, you know, the offices and all that stuff just don't work, you know? There's nobody looking for that type of an operation. What was it, a two-story or three-story building was approved originally? I forget.
One story.
Was it one? I thought it was two.
No, it was one
Okay,
story.
okay, one story.
Yeah.
That's an operation, then people go home at night, now that area is usable. This is gonna be constant turmoil.
Well, on this site, that
Yeah,
was
see,
a
and that's-
retail, it was a retail operation, not a hybrid. Yeah, all I'm suggesting is that I'm hearing some thunderclouds coming from some members of this board, and I really want you to focus on
Well,
this
it's the
site.
fear of, you know, people are.
And we have reduced it, you and I spoke of the size and the scope, and as we work it, maybe more, but I'm hearing roadblocks where they really don't exist.
You know, nobody wants to bother putting the expense of a traffic signal, but how about putting a traffic signal out there? that
The
would
state
work?
would never allow a traffic
See, I
signal
don't know what
with
the answer is.
No, but that shouldn't preclude us from operating. And by the way, it's a rather large commercial plaza now. And people go out on the 5 Mile Line Road, they turn right. I wouldn't turn left during certain times, but you can also turn left at other times. Well,
This
you
is on
can.
the sketch plan, Mr. Riley, so what is your hope that we do at the conclusion of this meeting tonight?
I'm sorry?
This is on for sketch plan, so what is your hope that this board does at the conclusion of this meeting?
Yeah,
With respect to the project?
specific guidance on size and
We're not
scope.
giving a letter of recommendation to the
We're
zoning.
not asking for that. We're not asking for that at this
Okay.
point. Okay? We know there's some hurdles we have to overcome. We're going to make an effort to overcome it.
Raj, I think we do need something from this board to go back to the zoning board. Is there a request for this?
I understand what you, because I'm the zoning board attorney as well. My concern is that I've been the attorney for this board since June 2001. Have we ever given a recommendation on sketch plan to ZBA? And
We have gone through preliminary.
Right, they filed a preliminary
That's what
application.
We actually did that with Royal Car Wash.
I was out for
We
heart
did
surgery.
send a letter to them, I remember doing the letter, we sent it to them.
But they had
And-
filed preliminary.
And that's where everybody was in full support of that setup, so it was.
Had they filed preliminary at that point?
Yeah, I think they did come in with a preliminary, didn't they, Don, for that?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, I thought so, yeah. And then,
And-
we did. I mean, we could do the same thing here,
Oh,
but,
hold on, I guess I was out for heart surgery then, so
Okay.
I don't remember what happened, I don't know what happened. But my point is, with all due respect to the applicant, there's a formality to the process of preliminary. You know, you've been asked for certain things, this traffic study, for example, I've heard board members suggest that they're worried about traffic, that you can't do right now, because it's all voluntary right now, you know what I mean? If he wants to give you information, great, if he doesn't have to. But if you make him file preliminary, then you can ask for certain requests to, as part of your secret process or whatever.
you're right.
My point is, I would not advise the board to give any letter of recommendation to
No,
any
I
board,
agree.
regardless of the ZBA,
Well,
without everything in your hand. And I would then be reluctant to advise you because it's not a formal application. That's just my
no,
own.
I agree,
personal
you're right. No, the
Not
only,
me,
the only
but
reason
concern.
I'm saying it is right now, they're just here trying to kick it around, where we going with this thing. And I don't think anybody's really too thrilled with it. I hate like heck having them go spend $50,000 drawing plans and going through to the preliminary stage and then going to the ZBA and they say, no. You know, that's why, I mean, I kind of leaving that open.
It's your car, I mean, there's nothing prohibiting you from sending a letter, but it looks kind of like a vote,
Well,
when there's no formal application before the board.
No, I would not want to do that. You know, my suggestion of them going is maybe if everybody was okay with that, let them go to the zoning board and explain to them what they're proposing like they just did here. And if the zoning board looks favorably on it and they feel that they're comfortable giving the variance, so be it. Then we'll deal with it.
I respect what Mr. Riley said, though, you know, he doesn't want to ping pong around between the boards. But we need a formal application before, in my opinion, I can recommend to this board, give a formal letter. Because until you formally apply, what do we know what you're gonna do? That's just my
So
opinion.
you're
The board is free to
suggesting,
do it as
so
it
you
pleases.
suggest, okay, so.
It's not illegal to send a letter, it's just not advisable.
No, actually, once they receive a preliminary approval, you know those seminars we go to all the time? That came up at a meeting, one of those meetings, getting off a little bit here, but it was recommended that the planning board communicate with the zoning board and what and how they felt about things, and we should be sending a letter to them on why we did this or that, and why we look favorably on something. And then it's up to them, though, to do what they want to do, you know?
We're not in the concepts.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that's.
I think there's some protections for both the applicant and the board with the formality of the preliminary formal application. That's all I'm suggesting.
And we would be willing to submit a preliminary application and provide traffic information as well as all the other standard information needed for this board to make
All right, let's
a
do that.
preliminary decision and a secret decision.
Sounds like a win-win.
All right. Okay, let's
Great,
travel that route then.
thank you.
I just tried to shorten it up a little bit, but. So Brett, what are you gonna do then? You'll prepare a preliminary, drawings and stuff, and traffic study and.
Yeah, well, so we'll work with Don on what would be required for preliminary site plan application. Coming on to the last PRC, I think it was discussed that to make the application for preliminary site plan.
Okay.
But since we revised the layout, it was kind of advised that let's bring the concept plan and talk about the layout again while we move forward with preliminary site plan application before we get that submitted.
All right.
I got a question, you know, obviously Mark Ford is very good with the plazas, and they do a great job. Why didn't you make that a plaza over, like what you were approved for? I'm just curious. Do you see,
What was the question?
in regards to this area, Mark Ford is very good with plazas, they have a lot of them. Why didn't you just continue a plaza or whatever, which was zoned for and everything?
We shop that site forever.
Yeah?
And forever, and we'll submit that information.
Yeah, but I'm just curious because,
In
you know.
fact, it was the zoning board or you guys said, hey, you're leasing out space for one of the, for Vision or one of them to put cars on. I didn't know that we had done that. They just parked them, and then we said, hey, guys, and I think they paid us, what, $1,500 or something? But, no, we would have loved a Metro mattress, we would have loved, you know, and all the really nice
I'm just curious, you know, like,
folks.
these places like Starbucks, they want their own corner, or, you know, all these different places there. I was just curious, you know.
Yeah,
It is a nice place for
believe
something.
Believe me, if we would jump for joy if we found something.
It is a beautiful piece of property for, you would
It's a
think for
nice-
something like that, you know.
And in spite of the traffic, it's like a lady one time in front of me said, we were having a hearing on a fast food place. She said, these fast food places, there's too many of them, they're always crowded. You know, so Ridge Road is, you've got a nice little commercial road there, and, you know, and it's attractive. Plazas, others that we've seen are attractive, they're nice looking. They're not bad properties at all.
See, what we get, the static we get now from the general person in the store is, what are you putting in, another car wash?
Oh, stop it,
This is
Anthony.
getting like.
Okay, we're gonna disclose. This is gonna be Tony's car wash. I mean, really, I have never heard, no one has ever said there's too many car washes.
Oh, you
All
are.
right. But, you know, we don't want to be the last person in heaven, but, you know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, and that's all we're talking about. We'll get to work on it, make an application.
All right.
Thanks so much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
It's nothing, it's just gonna take it down. You can just put down the applicant will be coming back in for the preliminary review. Okay, guess we got it, that's it. Okay, I guess that's it for tonight, thanks for coming in.
Now, anything gonna happen with, Ridge Road from the car, especially, trails in there, we're still unloading cars on Ridge Road.
I believe the town board is speaking to the state in regards to being able to dispose of that land, the no parking or canning,
Yeah.
which would prohibit that from occurring.
Have you gotten all of that?
I don't know if we received anything yet. On occasion, yeah, that's a possibility.
They leave it in that, so it looks like that.
Oh, I see.
Just terrible,
Get those other 3 sheets in there too.
See how I do that?
But that's where we're at with that.
Yeah,
That's where we're at with that.
okay.
And tomorrow, I think what we need to do is.
I think if it looks,
We need to contact, we need to get a hold of the building inspector or
Who was clicking a
code
pen?
enforcement, whoever, or municipal.
Somebody was clicking a pen through the whole meeting. Small.
What a buddy.
I mean, nuts. The only problem I have about this is we're currently now with a preliminary drawing. They're gonna want preliminary approval, and then they go to the zoning board. And then it's almost like you're almost obligated to give approval.
The reality is they just changed by flipping it over.
What's that?
No, they didn't.
Well, they need that variance.
Yeah, it is.
They'll move the foot, that's not the issue. It's too intense. It's, well, it's too intense. I'm saying, you need all good, and then, that's